Hello and welcome back to Warrior Moms. I'm Michelle.
And I'm Amy, and we are so excited to have our friend Christi Howard here today to talk about her sweet girl, Ashley.
Yes, thanks for being here.
Well, thank you all for having me.
Yes, I know. We have wanted to have Christi here since we started in August. Yes. And so Amy and I, it's like we have a celebrity of the Warrior Moms with us.
She's blushing.
I know, she really is blushing.
My celebrity debut.
Yes, exactly. But why it's so important is Christi was one of the founders of Warrior Moms. So let's just start there, and then we'll jump into hearing about Ashley.
Yeah, so, gosh, way back when, it just kind of started organically. It wasn't anything that was planned. I knew a couple of the other Warrior Moms through connections. Christine and I had mutual friends that they connected us, and someone connected me to speak with one of the four moms where their daughters were killed in the UGA car accident. And we all got together for dinner one night, and a couple other people jumped in that had lost children. There was probably 6, 8 of us for dinner, and someone posted a picture of us on Facebook. Y'all can guess it.
Yes.
Social media.
Christine,
right.
thank you.
Thank you, Christine. Saying that, we all had this common bond, unfortunately, of losing a child. And then people just started reaching out to me, to Christine, to some of the other moms saying, hey, if y'all get together again, I'd love to join, would love to join. And we did. And we had another dinner, and then we just decided to make it more structured and do it once a month. And so we picked the third Thursday of the month and started putting it out there. And every month we have new people that show up that hear about it through word of mouth.
That's amazing.
So,
and it's been, what, 12 years-ish?
No, I don't.
Because Christine's at 10.
I think it's been more like
6 or 7.
Oh, okay.
Maybe around 7-ish.
Yeah, so further into her particular grief story.
It's not rhetorical, but why do you think so many women gravitate towards Warrior Moms?
I think because, and you all know the feeling when you're going through the beginning, especially for sure, of losing a child, you just want to see somebody that has survived it. That's walked the road in front of you, and they can look at me and go, oh, she's still here. It's been 13 years. Or they can look at. Or they can see somebody else there that recently lost a child, and they're in tears and they're experiencing the same tangled ball of emotions that they're feeling, where you just truly wonder if you're going crazy, that there's no one that can understand it or get it unless you've
watched this. Yeah.
And it's just that, I think that connection.
Absolutely. I agree.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're so grateful for
We are.
you guys doing this, and we love it, and that's why we're all here today. Yeah. Well, let us hear about your wonderful daughter, Ashley.
Yes. So Ashley Sue, as we call her, Ashley Sue, was 15 years old when she was killed in a boating accident up at Lake Lanier. So Ashley was a skinny, tiny little horseback rider, though that was her passion, was riding horses. And she was this teeny little thing that just took command of those big animals like you've never seen.
Crazy.
So, yes, and so we spent lots and lots of time at the barn and at horse shows, and she also loved music. And her growing up years, she spent doing ballet and tap and jazz and singing. She loved to sing.
Yeah.
Loved music. So she grew up being famous as being Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz.
Oh my gosh.
Because that's who she thought she was. That was her favorite show. She watched it over and over and over again, and she always wore the little red glitter that you could buy at Target, I guess it was. And so she wore those nonstop, and she was even out with my mom. She was probably about 4. they were out somewhere, and someone stopped my mom and was saying, "Oh, your little granddaughter's so beautiful," and she said, "You know, what's her name?" And my mom said, "Oh, she's Ashley." And she said, "No, I'm not. I'm Dorothy."
Dorothy.
So,
That is so precious.
She knew she was. Like, she took on the whole persona.
For her, and that's kind of how she always was. Like,
I love it.
This is who I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just this little independent fireball.
And don't mess it up.
Independent and strong. And packed in this little body, just animal lover to the core too. So
yes. Oh my gosh.
So our story, Ashley's story, it was June of 2010. It was actually Father's Day, and me, my husband, and our younger daughter Annie, who was 10 at the time, headed up to Lake Lanier to go boating for Father's Day. We have a boat up there, and we went to meet some friends, and we're at their home, and it was towards the end of the day, and the girls wanted to go out one more time, and we had a big tube,
right?
But they laid flat. There was Ashley and our daughter Annie, and then our friend Megan. They were all three laying on the tube on the back of our boat, and my husband was driving the boat, and I was spotting them, watching them off the back of the boat, and Ashley fell off the tube, and then Annie bailed after her, jumped in. We always kind of taught them if one was falling off, just fall in the same place, so you're not so far apart. And Megan stayed on the tube, and so we were circling back around to pick them up in the water. And as we were, we could see a boat coming. There was a pontoon boat, and the girls were kind of spread apart a little bit, but they were swimming towards each other. And the guy driving the pontoon boat was looking over, and he saw Annie in the water over to the left, but he didn't see Ashley in the water. So, excuse me, he ran. She went right between the two pontoons, and he ran her over, and the propeller hit her in the back of the head.
Oh my heavens! I am so sorry.
And that is just as we were
all there,
and
all watching.
I was screaming at him to stop. He couldn't hear.
Gosh, yeah.
So we knew that she was injured pretty severely. My husband, jumped in the water. They actually ended up getting her up on the boat of the guy. They stopped. I had to flag him down. He didn't even know that it happened.
Oh my gosh.
So, anyway, she ended up being life flighted to Grady Hospital from up at Lake Lanier. They just determined with her age and the extent of the injury, the trauma, that was the best place for her to go. So she, when we got there, she had already been in the operating room, and the surgeon came out and said, that it was
traumatic,
a very traumatic injury, severe, and just not one that she would be likely to survive. But if she's stable right now, we're gonna get her through the night. And so she never regained consciousness again. They started doing, I think the second day we were at Grady, they started doing brain death tests, and so they perform brain death tests, and then they wait 24 hours and they do another one. So
I've never even heard that term.
Yeah. So she was declared brain dead the third day that she was up there, and in between the two brain death tests, actually, with the doctor that we gotten to know, they were just absolutely fantastic to us up there. And just came and kind of said, if she is declared brain dead, you all know that she would be, a viable candidate for organ donation, and just wanted to kind of mention that to you to let you all
have you think about it. Yeah.
And my husband and I immediately were like, oh, no, we don't need to think about it. And he just kind of like looked at us like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And he didn't know what was coming next.
Yeah.
And we said, she is an organ donor. Yeah. We are kind of a unique family in that my husband's father was a liver recipient back in the early 2000s. So Ashley grew up knowing that her papa received this liver and lived
A
for
full
many more
life,
years
yeah.
because of that.
And she was 15, so she had her learner's permit.
So when she went to get her learner's permit at 15, she checked the organ donation box, and she
No questions.
no questions. So,
And I love that you both, without question, just honored that. You just knew, yes.
No doubt whatsoever. And so they prepared her for organ donation, and she was able to be an organ donor, and she saved the life of a little girl that was 8 years old that needed a heart.
Oh my gosh.
And we knew that before leaving the hospital, that's her heart was going to go to a little girl. So that was, I don't think using the term made it easier was not, but it gave us a little.
But I'm sitting here thinking, your phone call, or the phone calls that y'all had to make to people were so hard.
Right.
We've all been there.
Yeah.
The phone calls you get, they're just so hard. But could you imagine that? The phone call that mom got?
Yeah, the mom got. And we've
because
been on the
have
other
to get
side,
us.
so we knew because,
oh
Papa
my
waited
goodness sakes.
And just a cool little fact, Ashley and her Papa had the same birthday. They were both
my
October the 3rd, so he always called her his biggest gift. Because they're October, she would say thud. October
Thud. In her Dorothy shoes.
So we found out later, we only knew about the heart because it was going farther away, and so they had to make a lot of arrangements.
Wow.
But she was able to donate both of her kidneys, and her liver actually went to like a 62-year-old man at Emory, which was about the same size of her Papa. So,
I just have full body chills.
I did. Yes.
So, so we left the hospital that day knowing, Ashley was going down to surgery for the organ procurement, and that's just been a part of our story in that we, Ashley didn't die that day at the lake. I mean, she literally lives on through others.
Golly, that is...
The girl that received her heart is now, 13 years older. So she, do the math on that, somebody from your 8,
she was
19,
10.
11. She's 21.
21?
Wow. And I've checked, and she's still, she's still alive.
Yeah.
So people always ask me about that. No, we have not met her. At the beginning, we've got some cards and such from her and her family. And, we've reached out and communicated a little bit, but, and a lady that received one of her kidneys wrote us a letter as well, just telling how it changed her life because she was on dialysis and she was having to live
such
at
a limited
centers,
right.
And how that changed her life. So
my goodness sakes.
And then we were approached by LifeLink of Georgia, who's the organ procurement for the state of Georgia that coordinates everything. And at one point, and asked if we would come and tell Ashley's story because we're, the uniqueness of being an organ recipient family and donor family. And so we did it, and we've had the opportunity over the last 13 years to go and speak and tell her story about, Ashley being an organ donor because she signed up to be one. But if that doctor wouldn't have approached us in the hospital, we were so exhausted. This was day 3 or 4 about being at Grady and coming to terms
just
with
the
trauma
of it all. Yes.
And,
you were not thinking about that.
No, we weren't thinking about it. And if he wouldn't have asked us, that would have been down the road if we would have ever thought about that, going, oh my.
You would have been
and then remembering that she had checked that too.
We've been able to speak to doctors and nurses about that and the importance of giving families that opportunity. It's their choice, right? If they want to do it or not.
I said this before to you it's got to be so hard to ask a parent with their child lying there.
Yes.
Hey.
Yes. I mean, and it has to be done the right way. And it's a choice. But I think, not giving, because there's families out there that don't have the education about it that ours did, and they may be,
right.
Yes, we want to give that gift because it's a true gift.
It really is.
Would never ask. So that's been a big part of our healing story is being able to continue to tell Ashley's story and she was 15, so the next year all her friends were turning 16 and getting their driver's licenses, and the kids that would, text me and say, Miss Howard, I'm an organ donor.
I'm a donor.
And the stories over, the last 13 and a half years since she's passed, to the people that still reach out to me and say that they're organ donors, or their kids are organ donors because of Ashley, And we've heard from hospitals in the area that we've gone and spoke to them that the impact of her life, from hearing the stories from the doctors and nurses, hearing the stories and their rate of donations that have gone up, is, I think that the amount of lives that she saved goes far beyond just the 4 people that received her organs.
Oh my heavens.
I love that.
Yeah. So
how soon in your...
We always talk about the silver lining.
It's just, been a true gift to us. Now,
how did you prepare for that first time talking about it? Like, how did you get through it?
Asked everyone to pray for me because I was a nervous, sick.
How soon was it afterwards?
Within the first year.
Wow.
That's good.
It was tough, and I was trying to prepare and make this little PowerPoint and do all that, and I did. But when we got there, the words just flowed perfectly.
Oh my gosh! Yeah.
I mean, all the glory to God on that, and I hated speaking in front of people my entire life. Now I love it. I can't wait for the opportunity to go.
Yeah.
So it's a blessing.
Well, and you get to have that little piece of Ashley still living on in some way. Yeah.
So that's been great. But the other kind of aspect to our story, to Ashley's story, is that her 10-year-old sister was on the tube with her.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that.
So,
and Megan, too.
And Megan stayed on the tube, so she didn't actually see the accident happen, but she knew.
Right.
I mean, she was there firsthand, and my husband and I were there. And so the trauma of being a witness to something like that is something that takes a lot of hard work to
just a lifetime of work.
Get over, but to be able to process it and deal with it. So Annie was the one,
and she was 10. That's so young.
She was 10. She literally saw it happening firsthand. She saw the boat coming, and so I can't speak enough to what an organization called Kate's Club did for Annie. She was 10 at the time, and nobody else that was 10 years old understood death, really, or
gosh,
what it was
no, yes.
So she felt very alone. She struggled at school. She would literally, her teachers, because this happened in June, so August 1st, it was time to go back to school, and she did.
Which seemed probably...
She was in 4th.
She was starting 4th grade.
Okay.
And it probably just felt like 2 days after the accident. You know what I mean?
And
times are relevant.
You were not.
My sister came and stayed with us, and she was Annie's person, but she would literally, as her teacher described it, she turned into a puppy dog.
Really?
So,
what's that mean?
So she would get under her teacher's desk, you have the opening where the chair slides in. She made that her little house during the school day.
Oh my goodness, like her safe spot.
And she would act like a little puppy.
You are kidding me. Oh my gosh.
Annie, though, when you're listening, Annie's now a 23-year-old, beautiful, and Annie put in a lot of work.
Yes.
We started private, counseling right away, and then the Kate's Club, which is an organization for children that have lost either a sibling or a parent, those two, and they meet twice a month, and 1 month is like a fun activity, and 1 month they call it Clubhouse, and they do projects and therapy, and she just, for her, that was just
so important.
Just connecting, because there was other kids.
She didn't feel alone.
Just like us.
Yeah. She had somebody there that understood what it was like. To lose someone at her age, and so
Yeah, that little puppy just needed to be cared for and find other little puppies, you know?
She now is a counselor for Kate's Club, and they have,
Oh, you're
they have a camp every summer for kids called Camp Good Morning.
Oh,
And
my
so the last 2 or 3 years she's gone and has been a counselor for them. So it was a long, tough haul, but the individual counseling and therapy to address that for anyone that witnesses that trauma, I can't speak to how important that was.
I know we've talked time and time again about how we weren't the moms that our older children had.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We could not be that mom to
You
them.
try, right?
Yeah.
But it's
I mean, and it's true.
grief just takes away so much of that ability.
And you change even for
the rest of
because
their
we
life.
have 2 older kids too that were in college. They weren't there when it happened. They were both at school. And so they never, even though it was horrible for them and understand, and losing Ashley, the scene the day at the lake was just something that
they didn't live through, right?
Yeah.
But their mind created their own videos, I'm sure.
Like I never saw Alec and stuff like that, and the visuals that I get, or at least did when I would close my eyes, like I would just pop back open because I didn't want to see what my brain thought.
Right.
So I could only imagine for Annie.
Yeah, she has that vision, and she had, as through her therapy, the vision of this she would draw, they have you draw the pictures and counseling, this evil person, man, driving the boat that killed Ashley. And, in reality, it was a guy in his 60s out on Father's Day just taking a
stroll,
cruise on. He wasn't doing necessarily anything wrong. He just saw Annie in the water, and he didn't see Ashley. And it takes a lot of work to work through that trauma. And if you don't work through it, it's in there, and it's like a volcano. And we already have enough struggles with being triggered and erupting, certain things without not facing.
That's a great way to say that.
Without trying to recognize some of that and dealing with the trauma.
And what a gift that Annie's giving to other young kids. My gosh. Just speaks to her strength that is similar, it sounds like, to Ashley's, that independent.
She grew up with, she's the most loving, caring, big-hearted, not a mean bone in her body person.
And she was probably like that before.
But
this has really brought more of that out.
She grew up having to deal with things that most kids will never deal with in their life.
Right.
No.
Most people, if you're lucky, you're just dealing with your grandparents dying when you're in
pets,
your 90s. And pets, for sure.
Yeah.
So, but having, to deal with seeing your sibling basically be killed at 10 years old is...
My gosh. It speaks volumes to you and your husband, too, of... the extra work we know, because we had little ones when we lost our kids. Yeah. And, there's a lot of fortitude that you have to somehow find to put your grief aside at certain times.
You do. Because, and that was the thing. She was 10, she was starting school. And, one of my least favorite things that people say to us is, I would have never even been able to get out of bed again if that would have happened to me.
Yeah.
Like all you people out there, never say that to someone. Because she was going, I had a 10-year-old that was going to school. Like I couldn't just stay in bed and go, hit the bus, Annie. Go on.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Have a great day.
I wanted to. However,
I wanted to, but I don't really know anyone that's ever stayed in bed the entire rest of their lives just because of grief, but I guess it's happened out there. But you don't have a choice. And honestly, that's one of the things that I say, that God gives you the strength at that time. You never think you would have that strength, but when you need it, that God gives it to you.
Yes.
You have a superpower strength that you don't ever know is within you until you're faced with something like that.
Well, and yes, God does give you that superpower strength, but you have to recognize the fact that you have it.
You have,
and you have to
lean
make that
into
step
it.
to get out of the bed.
Right. I mean, you have to be intentional about it, and
that's the word I'm looking for. Intentional.
Yes. I actually did know of someone that their son was killed in a car accident, and she was driving the car, and that really did have a hard time. Really
getting back into routines
and maybe didn't seek the help and get the help. And I remember leaving the hospital that day, and I told my husband, I said, I don't want to be like that person.
Yes.
You know, I knew that I was going to always live, and this is kind of one of the ways that I do, that if Ashley is looking down and Ashley can see me, what I would want her to see, knowing that one day I'm going to see her again and go, dear God, Mom, are you kidding me?
You're wearing that.
What, you know, but I want her to be proud of what we've done and done in her honor, and, you know, what we've done going on, you know, not going on, moving forward in life, you know, because every day, every single day we miss her. And everything that's happened in our family since then, we've had marriages, we've had grandkids now, and we've had just joyous events. But every single thing that happens, it's joy and heartache.
Yeah, it's the and,
time.
right?
It's always there.
Yeah,
it's always there.
It is.
I've read time and time again. You don't just lose them once.
No, it's over and over.
It is, absolutely.
When my older son and daughter got married, it was the best, funnest day, but just sitting back and looking at the bridal party, and, you know,
she would be there,
Ashley
right?
would be there, and I'm never going to get to, you know, be at Ashley's wedding. And when the kids have babies, it's always joy and heartache.
Yes.
You know, but there is joy again.
Yeah.
There is joy. We have had a lot of joy in our lives. So
I love that. What if you had to give, you know, kind of a last sort of piece of advice? What would be something that, you know, I mean, you've given us lots of things to think about, but
pearls,
just you personally, like, you know, your faith, obviously, you know, finding ways to celebrate Ashley. But in those dark moments, like what do you do to get yourself out of those moments?
You know, I think that for me, that my therapy, you know, besides my faith and prayer, it turned into going to individual therapy and coming up with some of the tools in those darkest days, or those beginnings where you can't sleep because the lake scenes replaying on autopilot in your head of some of the, you know, the techniques and the things that my therapist could tell me to focus on. And I think, you know, intentionally making up my mind that I was going to get help so that I could be the healthiest person that I did, because a lot of people, you know, go to one therapist and they don't click with them. And, you know, it can be work to find the therapist that you feel understands and
I went
helpful.
before.
And,
that's a great point.
That not giving up on that. You know, sometimes you might need medication for a short period of time, and being able to take that help, because if you can't sleep, you know, how important sleep is to you, or if you can't function, it doesn't mean you have to do that for the rest of your life. You know, understanding that. But I think I was one of the moms that I wanted to talk to somebody immediately within the first few weeks of Ashley passing that had lost their child.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there was somebody in my neighborhood that actually slipped a note in my mailbox that had lost a child and said, hey, if you want to talk, call me. And she was my first phone call. And just making those connections and trying to, you know, I think do what works for you, but you have to have the intentional mindset of I'm going to seek the help that I need, and I want to come through this as a healthy person when I'm 10 years down the road.
That's amazing. What I think is just beautiful about the story you told today is, everything from Ashley being a donor and, the work you and your husband put in to your older children and Annie's gift back to Kate's Club. I mean, it's just this message of doing for others fills you up too.
Right.
And it's all in out of love.
You can't do for others if you don't take care of yourself first.
Yes.
And I knew that, like, I'm not going to be able to take care of Annie and be a mom to my older kids if I don't make sure that I'm getting what I need. And sometimes you do have to, like, I just can't do that and take advantage of your support system too. I had a huge support system. My sister was huge in coming in and just making Annie feel special and doing a lot of things with her and friends that would take Annie out and go do
just
things with
allowing
them
that help
and allowing the help. I had a big
that's
community
so
that cooked
huge
for us for probably 6 months, and just taking the help and being honest with people about what you need, because everyone will say, "Hey, let me know if I can do anything for you."
Yeah.
But sometimes putting it out there and being honest about where you can use the help.
Yeah.
Well, and we've talked sometimes too that we don't know what we need in the time.
Sometimes you don't know.
Yeah, sometimes you don't brush your teeth for 3 days, and you're like, I need a reminder.
Somebody texts me to remind me.
I need to brush my teeth, but you don't realize you didn't brush your teeth for 3 days. So we're so lost in our own world.
You can find somebody that can advocate for you, whether it's your spouse or a sibling or a best friend that can be there to put things
to show
out
up.
and say, they need food, they don't need food, they need Annie driven to
new shoes. They need
this.
A point person.
So we had that point person and my sister that was kind of directing traffic, because when just like yours for sure, Michelle, Ashley's story was on the news. It was it was a big thing, and you have a lot of people coming at you from all directions. Somebody that you can
navigate all of that. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, this was just a treasure. I know I'm filled up taking just, it's so cathartic, I think, for Amy and I to hear just your own journey and the grace in which you tell the story and the sadness that we all carry of missing our kids. And we're just so grateful to share your story and to be the warrior for all of us that's helping pull us together.
You have done your calling in bringing warrior moms together.
Yeah, it's amazing.
We weren't all warriors before, but we're lead moms, and now we're...
And we follow your suit. I mean, truly, we look at you and Christine and Kathy and the other moms that you met with, the first dinners, and watch you on the couch and see how you... I mean, it is us really looking at you,
at mentors. I want to be that person, that Susan, the lady that lived in my neighborhood, that was for me, that was like... I'm standing here 10 years later, or whatever, I'm almost 14 years later, and that you can do this.
Yes.
Like, it is hard. It's a lot of work, but you can do this.
Yeah. Yes, well, thank you.
Well, thank you all for having me.
Your debut was a success.
It was awesome.
Thank you.
Until next time, guys. Thanks
Bye.
for being here.
What happened? There we go. Yay!